sat outside. It's a really nice blue sky spring day. I have myself a lemon and ginger tea. Even though it's really nice weather, I'm still having a hot cup of tea because why not? There's never a bad day to have a cup of tea. I just got back from a walk, and on my walk, I was listening to Featherstone by the Paper Kites. And if you know anything about this song, it's a pretty old song. I think it came out like over a decade ago. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I still love this song. Because you know, like some songs like you really like as a kid and then you grow out of it. This song was not one of them. And it just got me thinking about some of my favorite songs of all time, so I thought, why not share them with you? These are in no particular order, by the way. They're just like songs that I thought of. Despite how much time passes, I feel like I will always love these songs.
Wake up to the sound of your fleet.
The guitar intro of this is so nostalgic to me. I know it's super simple and repetitive, but it just reminds me of a perfect spring or summer morning. A little bit like today, actually. The Paper Kites was one of my first introductions into indie music, and it was all because a friend of mine told me about this band, and I remember listening to their whole discography. I think this was back in like the early 2000s, but the song Featherstone really stood out to me. One of my core memories is actually going on a hike at 4:30 in the morning, making it to the top of the hill, waiting for the sun to rise, and just listening to this song and Bloom on repeat. I feel like with most breakup songs, it's always very sad and it's very melancholic, right? But while the song is about realizing that you're not compatible with someone and having to let them go, it's not angry, but rather it's kind of like hopeful. It feels like you're about to unlock a new chapter of your life and you have no idea what's coming, but being totally okay with ambiguity. I don't know, it just reminds me of like a day like today. It's really peaceful, really hopeful, and yeah, just like looking forward to the joy of springtime. Next song, Candles by Daughter. The first song I heard by Daughter was actually Youth, and that was because a friend of mine had posted a cover of that song, and that was how I discovered them. Fun facts, a friend of mine was teaching me how to play the guitar, and the first song I ever taught myself to play the guitar was Candles. I remember looking up on YouTube like Candles Daughter guitar tutorial because I really wanted to learn this song. This whole EP that Candles is from is called His Young Heart. The EP is so good. It's very sad. It's definitely very melancholic. Candles in particular really stood out to me. I think perhaps being a melancholic teenager contributed to that. And I think the reason why I love this song so much, even before I experienced my first sort of heartbreak or relationship or even situationship, was because it instilled a curiosity within me, and it kind of got me thinking, is this what it's like to experience hurt? This is actually a very heartbreaking song, especially if you listen to the lyrics closely.
'Cause we both know I'll never be your lover. I only bring the heat. Company under covers. Filling space in your sheet.
And there's multiple interpretations to it, but to me, this is a very honest depiction of being in young love. It's knowing you aren't meant for someone, but still doing anything and everything to make them happy, giving them your all and getting the bare minimum in return, and craving validation from the very person who invalidated you in the first place. Carrying along this theme of like heartbreak, I Lost You by The Wildlife is also another one of my top songs. I discovered this band, I would say like 5-6 years ago maybe. It was during COVID. When I first discovered them, I was like, how do I not know a single person who listens to this band? I actually reached out to Jansen back in 2021 because they were my top artist and their song Over Sentimental was my like top song of that year, and he actually responded to me, which I think is pretty cool if I may say so myself. Anyways, about the song, I love a good angsty heartbreak song, and this is precisely that. The intro of this feels like you're walking through a dark tunnel all by yourself, and it's just so raw, you know, like describing the experience of losing someone, of neglecting yourself and your body in the process of grieving, wanting to be surrounded by people but yet feeling so alone when you are. I think it's something that a lot of us are used to. And then I feel like when we get to the chorus of this song, it feels like instead of walking through this tunnel, you're now running because you see a beam of light at the end, but the beam of light keeps getting further and further away from you, and you're like doing your best to chase it. I just feel like so many of us can relate to being so in love with someone, losing them, and in the process losing yourself, and just lying to yourself, telling yourself, oh, I'm fine, but In all honesty, like, you're not fine, girl. I adore this song, and in fact, it's probably the song that I run to the most. I love it.
I was bored out my
The intro to the song feels like your heart is sinking, or that nervous feeling you get in your chest right as you're about to confess something. When I first heard this song, I think I was cleaning my bathroom or vacuuming my room or something, but I was truly stunned. It felt like she had taken a peek out of this and managed to put into words exactly how I felt, but can never articulate for the longest time. Every sentence, every word feels like she stepped into my shoes. I think coming to terms with the way things ended in the past, or the way you personally handled them, isn't easy. And I think that's what I love the most about Gracie's writing. Just the rawness and honesty of it all, right? And this was like her debut album. She started out the album with this song. How bold. While the verse and chorus are like really good, my favorite part has got to be the bridge.
I destroyed every silver line you had in your head. All of your feelings, I play with them. Go ahead, we can just call it conditioning. We were too different. You were so sensitive, gave me the best of that. I was so negligent.
Often I think when things don't work out, it's super easy to just like point fingers and to just defect and to just blame someone else. But best is the opposite of that. It's essentially saying, hey, I know I'm equally as culpable as you are in this situation. It's saying, hey, I messed up, and I think a lot of it is my fault. The song was on my top 5 Spotify songs for 2 years in a row. I think the year before last, it was my #1 song of the year. If fall could be a song, it would be Coney Island by Taylor Swift. I'm aware Taylor has a massive discography, but if I had to pick a song by her that was my favorite song of all time, I genuinely think I would say Coney Island. Ask me again in a year, maybe that might change, I don't know. Back when CDs were still a thing, I remember my cousins were so lucky to get their hands on Debut, and I could not afford to buy Debut at the time. I got my uncle to essentially copy all of her songs on Debut onto a plain CD for me. Is that piracy? Probably, because my parents wouldn't let me buy her CDs back then, okay?
I shatter you. And I'm sitting on a bench in Coney Island, wondering where did my baby go?
Every single time I feel like listening to Taylor, by default, I play Coney Island. The song just speaks to me like on a whole different level. It just summarizes the feeling of disappointment right as you realize the relationship is about to end. Because you realize that the person you fell in love with isn't the same person that sat right beside you anymore. And you start to question, like, whose fault is that? Is it mine, or is it yours, or are we both at fault here? Oh, I adore the song so much.
I'm singing at a funeral tomorrow for a kid.
If there's a song that would describe me to my core, it would most definitely be Funeral by Phoebe Bridgers. It's not that I like this song, but this song just speaks to my soul. Like when she says I'm so blue all the time, and that's just how I feel. I always have and always will. Oh, you have no idea. Like, just, I feel like naturally that's kind of who I am. And I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. It's one of those things, when certain people get really fidgety or anxious when they haven't left their house in like 2 days. Yeah, I'm like probably the opposite of that. And of course I feel like when I tell people like, oh, I relate to this song so much, sometimes I get confused looks because people are like, this song does not seem like you at all. I just relate to it, but on a soul level. But whenever I hear this line,
And I call when I've bored myself to tears.
I always think about my best friends, especially now because I've moved across the world from them. I always think back to the time when like we were all really like depressed and we would just make jokes, girl, you can't go without me. And of course I will admit on certain days where I am feeling particularly sad, the song does hit even more. But for the most part, I listen to this even on happy days. It's just like very comforting to me. This is who I am in my core. It's Funeral by Phoebe Bridgers. But yes, I think those are my favorite songs of all time. Perhaps I am missing a couple that just didn't come to mind, but for the most part, I think that's it. I'm glad to know that some parts of my music taste continue to remain the same despite how many years pass. Maybe next year, I'll realize that actually I don't like any of these songs anymore and I have a new set of favorite songs, maybe. I don't know, we'll see.